My name is Michael Kaplan, Hillwood High School, class of 1996.
My name is Sidney Tolbert, Hillwood High School, class of 1995.
We're here to encourage you to give to the new Hillwood Annual Fund. That's give, the number 2, hillwood.com.
The goal is to have an impact on the current generation of Hillwood students as well as the future, to just do the best we can to help them have an enjoyable experience like so many of us have had here before.
With this new fund, you're able to give to anything arts, athletics, or academics that you so choose. Thank you. Please give to hillwood.com.
Thank you.
We're here today with a couple of Hillwood High School alumni from the class of 95 and 96. Fellas, introduce yourself.
I'm Sidney Tolbert, class of 1995. Currently the owner of Sidney Tolbert LLC. Glad to be here today, making an alumni message for the help with the future of the Hillwood alumni, the growing students, so they can have an experience similar to the enjoyable experience I had here at Hillwood.
I'm Michael Kaplan, class of 1996, businessman, moved back in the area. Been back for about 15 years, and I just want to spread the message that Hillwood needs your help, that we need alumni to step up and support us and do a lot of things for the kids. That it's a little bit different school and a little bit different things than what we grew up with, and to share our experience with what we did when we were here and to give a similar experience to some of these kids nowadays.
When did you guys first meet?
We first met when Sydney was in the 8th grade and I was in the 7th grade at Bellevue. So I don't want to say the year.
Is that Bellevue Middle?
Bellevue Middle.
And we're not that old that there was a Bellevue High. I mean, that's old.
Bellevue High was over. And we wrestled together.
One of us was good, one not so much.
All through high school. And we didn't judge it by just performance on the mat, as we are still, 30 years later, still the best of friends. I'm encouraged to be here now by Michael, trying to give back. I'm glad to do so. And if more kids can have those same lasting friendships that we were able to get together with Michael and so many of our fellow classmates and teammates, then that's all we can ask out of what we're trying to do with Hillwood.
Do you remember your weight class from middle school?
I do.
What was it?
My 8th grade weight class was 131.
Sarah, what about you?
I mean, when you're JV and you're not real good, they don't really put you in a weight class. But I was about 12 years old, so I think I was probably 103 pounds. So, I mean, nobody was too worried if I showed up or not.
Right.
So
You guys reunited at Hillwood, I guess, when you came on as a freshman and you'd already been there for a year.
Well, he
whoa.
Oh, my fault. I had it backwards.
look at that's the old one.
Yeah. I'm older, and he was young for his class.
Okay.
His mom, we both might have been pretty quick as kids, but his mom and dad decided to send him on. My mom didn't get me there early.
At 4.
He came pretty early, so a little different.
So he came on after you were a sophomore.
My sophomore year, he was a freshman, and from that time, we pretty much stayed very connected until he went off to college, and I started doing this business. And like he said, he moved away for a while and finished his studies, bachelor, then master's degree, and came back, and we reconnected and stayed in touch and have kind of continued to support each other throughout.
Let's move back to those early years at Hillwood High School. So you both immediately wrestled when you came to school?
We did.
We both have a similar story. We both wanted to play basketball.
True.
And I think for the betterment of Hillwood, we both wrestled instead, because I don't think any of us were going to be. You might have thought you were a little better at basketball than you were, but I might have been at the end of the bench on a basketball team at best.
Right. So you both on the wrestling team. So what weight classes did you wrestle in high school?
I went 130, 135, 140, and 142.
So my freshman year, I started at 152, and I weighed 140. In my senior year, I weighed 160, and started at 160. So
Okay.
little 8-pound difference.
What was your best wrestling record throughout high school?
We didn't really keep up with our records per se in our minds, but we had a really good team. Hence us coming back for our 25-year deal of,
I know the best record is 13-1.
yeah.
Your junior, my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Or no. Is that it?
That's right. Yeah. Now,
Your senior
my
year.
senior year,
Your
junior
senior year when
That's right.
everybody got hurt.
That's right.
13-1, and we joked that that's probably the best team in Hillwood history, and not necessarily by just our accomplishments of winning region, but our accomplishments of how we are as a team to this day. 25 years later, we still want to get together, spend time with each other, and really showed everybody what a real team is, and not necessarily, it's all about the scoreboard, even though we were really good and we lost one match and that we probably shouldn't have lost, but we had a lot of injuries that day.
A lot of injuries that year, yeah.
But, but that year, we had one of our best wrestlers had a car wreck. Sydney tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Another wrestler broke his wrist. What else?
And
I was out for a
good
while with a
wrestlers.
broken foot, and we still were able to go 13-1, and it really made us close. And so it was that was a really, really special year.
So how
And
many of that team came back to the reunion that you guys had last wrestling season this year with our current wrestling team? About how many guys was it?
20 of us?
I think it was 20, including our coach and his son that was a young boy when we were wrestling that wound up being a 3-time state champion and got second place in the nation in college in Division II, and he came back and they both said that was the fondest memories either of them had in wrestling as a coach and as the kid watching. They both said that night afterwards that was the fondest memories they had. And those were two accomplished wrestlers as well. So that team truly was special, and all that happened here at Hillwood.
Our coach was Brian Dunning, who's the first freshman state champion in Tennessee history, also a Hillwood alumni.
Hillwood alumni, correct.
Wow. What class are we on the team?
I
We done
want to
talked
say
about stuff
class of 74 maybe. I could be a little off on that, but I think it might have been 74. Not sure.
That would have made him 22. No, 20, maybe.
I
You know better than
I
me.
mean,
You know that stuff.
I could be a little off on that.
How tough were the practices back then?
Real tough.
They were tough, but they were fun.
They were fun.
But
We liked it.
you got to be a little bit crazy to wrestle. And matches are a whole lot easier than practice, but the harder you practice, the better the matches. But we got, what do we get? Thanksgiving Day off.
Yeah.
Christmas Day. I
But
don't even know if we got 2 years
you're right
off.
back the next day. The next day was
You
right
didn't,
back.
but you didn't really want to. You couldn't eat too
Yeah.
much, so yeah, you didn't miss anything.
Y'all have a tough time making weight class? I always
All the time. All the time. Even if I missed school, I might show up for the last 2 minutes of school just so I could go to practice because we didn't like to miss practice.
Right.
Not too bad. You'd sit in class and spit in a cup, look like a
See, you
miss
can't,
Lenny,
you
and
can't,
for
do,
lunch
you
eat
can't do
nothing.
some of what we did then cutting weight. They don't let you cut as much weight now.
Remember, Swinger used to hang out by the boiler room
Yeah.
alone like some sort of a crazy man,
I
all
spent more
wrapped
time than I
up.
should have down there myself. But yeah, we did cut a lot of weight.
What was your favorite wrestling move that was your go-to to try to win a match?
I like to take down. Takedowns to get points and maybe a half Nelson to win.
So what do you think the reason is that 20 years, how many years, 25 years later, that 20 guys show up to participate in kind of alumni night last year?
I'd say, first of all, wrestling bonds you in a way that no other sport can. Because when you wrestle, it's blood, sweat, and tears. You're in the wrestling room. There's no, hey, he's got this, I've got that. It's you are who you are. We'll see what you can do on a mat. But, that, and I think our team in '95, we just had great leadership, mostly by this guy right here, that no matter if you were the last man on the bench or the best wrestler on the team, you were all treated the same. We were all in this together. And when you have an experience like that, it really bonds you, and you look back nothing but fondly about those years, and you're like, man, I want to get back some of that, and just hey, it was a great time. And as you get older, you kind of look back and you romanticize some of those times, but you really realize, man, those were the great times. Those were the special years in your life that you can't, 40-something years old, you're not going to get on a team and have a bonding experience with a bunch of guys from all over the city and different backgrounds and different this and that. It's just a totally different world that you live in when you become an adult.
Agreed.
Sydney, what was the greatest thing you learned from your coach?
I learned a lot of good things from my coach, but a lot of the things that I learned were instilled at home, and the people that raised me. And my coach, they encouraged me, but you need encouragement, but it's kind of like what some of the former alumni said, it takes a lot of people, and the home life is very important, but you get leadership, and sometimes leadership is just not the coaches, it's your friends. And you asked about us getting back together. Well, Michael was the leader of getting with me and saying, let's get the guys back together and support these kids now. And here it is, we're here to redo this locker room and give back. So it just takes encouragement and leadership from people, no matter how successful you get, to give back to those that, need it. And I think that's what we're trying to do right now, is just help the kids like so many people helped us, whether it was a coach, a teacher, a friend, a parent. I had a parent here that I wasn't an underprivileged kid, but one of my friends on the wrestling team, his mom loved me just like her kid, and she taped all my matches and encouraged me and just loved on me. And I had a great mom, but my mom wasn't that into sports. So I had several surrogate moms and dads that put a lot of care into me, and that's probably as much as anything, just being a part of something. I would say my memories here were very fond, and I'd like to see more kids be able to have the same.
What was y'all's experience of how you felt like the kids reacted to when the alumni team came back to watch them?
I mean, I'd been to a basketball game before and a football game, but no, that was a great experience to watch them really get motivated and to show them. We probably would make up half the crowd with our group, and just, showing them kind of how we did it old school, how in wrestling and as a team, we similarly acted to how we did when we were on the team.
Yes,
and we cheered for each other, and you got fired up and you got excited. And I feel like they fed off a lot of that energy that we gave them. That was just the same energy we used to give each other. Like, that's how we acted. We got excited for each other when we were wrestling. And when Sydney was wrestling, I was watching. I was on the edge of my seat cheering every move on, similar with me, similar with everybody on our team. And I feel like, we got to, 25 years later, we got to kind of re-experience what it was like to have a wrestling match and to be a wrestling, because wrestling's an individual sport, yet there's a team aspect. And when you don't understand that, hey, Sydney's wrestling, well, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. No, I'm cheering for him. I'm showing him what it's like. I'm giving him, I'm boosting him a little bit. And I think that's what we were able to do a little bit for that team.
We watched those kids from Davidson County come in that day with a team of
they were
35 or 40 against our 12 to 14 from Hillwood, and it looked like it was getting ready to be one side of the fair for Davidson County. And you seen those kids get that pride and care and listening to us and seeing us there, and Hillwood destroyed them. And that was what we hope is some of this energy that we're trying to put back. And if we can get other alumni to see, even if your kids don't go here, my oldest son didn't go here, but as time moves on, if I had my 9-year-old son return to Hillwood one day, that would be a big accomplishment for me to see the school moving forward and continuing to grow. And even if my son doesn't go here, I'd like to see the kids that do go here have a great experience like I had here.
The truth is, you only have one alma mater, and no matter how many years you're around, you only went one place and graduated from high school from one place, and that's Hillwood for all of us. And so, you kind of want to look at it in a favorable light, and you want it to do well. We want to see Hillwood succeed, and any small thing we can do to help Hillwood succeed and to, you know, give a little more pride to our alma mater, something
Agreed.
that, I mean, we all should be willing to do.
You guys are already showing a great investment back into this school. We're so excited to have you as part of it. How did you think just that night influenced your fellow teammates as far as being rejuvenated in their hearts about being back a part, maybe investing back into Hillwood High School?
You have to ask them. I mean, I think it lit a spark, and it's really kind of, we've had this text thread going, and it's really brought us closer together, and, you know, kind of remembered some of our good times. But individually, I'm not sure.
I think once we get this locker room, a lot of these guys that wrestled also played football, and I think once we get this locker room project completed or going to completion, then you can reach back and say, look what we were able to do, and how can we help these kids, and just let them understand that they need some help, and that we came from being a proud school that was, we thought we were well looked at, and we tried to do our best. And like he said, as far as being alumni, this will always be my alumni. I remember my son played against Hillwood when he was at Lipscomb, and my brother came to the game, and he had on a Lipscomb shirt and a Hillwood hat. And when I sat on the visitor side at Hillwood, that was a strange experience, even watching my own son play against them. It's like you said, it's your alma mater, it's where you graduated high school from, and you know, you had a lot of friends and a lot of good times, and you know, we just want to see these kids have as good a time as they can and know that somebody cares. And if it's people that have had some degree of success, give back and not really have anything that we're looking to get from it other than to help them, I think that's something that kids can learn from.
As Hillwood sits now in a primarily private school community, as time has changed, what do you see as Hillwood's challenges, and what do you see as the challenge to our alumni and community members and business leaders in terms of bringing this school to where it needs to be? What do you guys want to see happen?
I mean, I'd like to see more, you know, just more positive things going on, more positive press, more people talking about Hillwood in a favorable light, and not the negative things. Metro's bad at this, Metro's kids are out, you know, all the nasty stuff you hear. But I'd also really, I mean, athletics is an easy thing, W's and L's, and you feel like athletics, some people feel like it's overrated. But when we were at Hillwood, we were good at every single sport. We were at least competitive, football, girls basketball, you name it. We had a good team, and that just instills school pride. And you see more people with a Hillwood shirt on, walking around campus, and you get more pride in your school, and you get more people doing good things. And you know, you see Hillsborough, you see Pearl Cone, Cane Ridge, all these other metro schools with people with a lot of pride on it. You go around town, and people are proud to be, you know, Pearl Cone alumni, Hillsborough alumni, because they do a lot of good things. And I feel like if people were proud to be Hillwood alumni, then we would, you know, raises the bar for the whole school. You know, you get teachers staying around longer, you get principals. I feel like Dr. Schaefer's doing an amazing job, and you know, through his leadership and through other teachers and people being here for a while and really being proud of this place, everything gets better.
I'd like to say that ultimately, to piggyback on what he said about athletics, you know, Americans spend millions of dollars, people make millions from all the Americans that pay to watch sports consistently. So we know we invest heavily in sports and our kids, and if these sporting programs can't have a certain degree of success, people are proud of teams that win, whether it's the Titans, the Vols. People take pride in winning programs and things that do well, and I believe that it does need some athletic success. People like to be a part of things that are good and on the way up, and if Hillwood can move on the way up, I think athletically is a low-hanging area that could be brought up, whether you get coaching from all these former pro people around that help and can give more instruction. I just think as you compete with people, you spoke of it being in a private school district, and as far as athletics have moved, you almost have to have some of the, in my personal opinion, some of the former college and pro people that are understanding the wave of what has to move forward to help these kids to be able to compete with other kids. If you're not allowed the tools to compete, as we're in this library with the computers and the stuff we're doing right now, you gotta have the proper tools to compete. If you don't, it's tough to compete. So my thought would be, if we help more and get people involved, and maybe somewhere we start a spark that the learning, the athletics, the arts, all can continue to move forward and just help these kids.
That kind of takes us to our brand new annual fund campaign, the GiveToHillwood.com annual fund campaign. What would be, you guys, what are your thoughts in terms of that annual fund campaign? What do you want to see happen out of that? We want it to be obviously an annual tradition that people are giving, and now we're approaching, we're in December, the last month, a real big giving month. What would you like to see happen amongst the community to support the school for December?
I mean, I want people to, to give where their heart is. I feel like people get too far away from their, they start forgetting out of sight, out of mind. But if you do something and you give back to some program that meant a lot to you, then hopefully it can mean a lot to some of these kids now.
And I think just kind of lead by example, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, Michael was giving and trying to do stuff long before I got back into the fray, but if I get into the fray and move forward and people kind of respect what I've done, and if you can lead by example, then maybe we can continue to get people, and the more, little by little, you build up steam and people continue to give. I think some other alumni have already been giving that I personally know of. We had alumni give a pretty generous gift, and if we can work on that and continue to give people to give, then I think, we'll start by some of the things we're going to do with the locker room. Michael doing the shirts for the wrestling room, us going in trying to update the wrestling room. Just little by little. I mean, if you start something, then other people can join in. A lot of people don't want to lead, but they can come in and give a hand.
And giving's not just financial. I think giving your time,
exactly,
giving some of your resources, your connections, giving, showing these kids that you still care, showing these kids that people still care about Hillwood. Those are what, I don't even want to know how many people have graduated from Hillwood that are in the area, and they can just come by, support somebody, come to a game, come to a basketball game. Last year they honored Charles Hathaway, a football game, and just being there, showing people that are in the school that the neighborhood, that the city still cares about them, which I thought was a big deal, because I felt like when we were here we had a real good community support. Be from Bellevue, North Nashville, this area. We had a lot of different people. We had alumni showing up, and yeah, I'm class of this, I'm class of that. And so, I think that's good that if people show up and say, yeah, I went to Hillwood, I graduated class of 96 or class of 2000, whatever class they graduated, shows these kids that, hey, this is we're all in this together.
Agreed.